Welcome to today's show, Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess, passionate, inspirational speaker, author, poet, and entrepreneur. Good morning, and welcome to Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'm delighted that you joined me this morning. Today is Wednesday, February 14th. I want to give a big thank you to those of you who are listening in today. I also want to give a great big shout out to all of you listening around the world. I'm delighted and so grateful that you tuned in. I sure hope you're enjoying a fabulous day today and that you're having a fantastic week, because you know what? In the grand song of the universe, life is very, very short. It's short and sweet and oh so precious. So I hope you're making a difference in your own life, because when you do, you also make a difference in someone else's life. Now, a lot of folks really want to make their life count for something, but they don't know how to do it, or it seems so big to them they don't know where to begin. So they ask me, Dr. Gloria, how do you do that? How do you make your life count? Well, it's really very simple, very simple. You make your life count day by day, step by step, moment by moment, every single day. 365, 24/7. You make your life count by being there for someone who needs the sweet fragrance of your presence, by the simple, loving things that you do for someone, by being an uplifter, by being an encourager. Maybe it's taking a walk with someone you love, or maybe it's making dinner for them to surprise them, or buying a beautiful bouquet of flowers. Perhaps like you just did for someone to celebrate Valentine's Day. Maybe you make a batch of cookies for a new neighbor, or maybe you visit with your mom, you hold her hand, and you just look into her eyes lovingly, even if she no longer knows your name. After a day of teaching, or when I've been facilitating a retreat or something like that for one of my clients, my husband runs a warm bath for me, just because. You make a difference by being grateful for who you are, being grateful for family and friends, and by counting your blessings. And, we can go beyond simply counting our blessings, can't we? We can go beyond that by being a blessing. Yesterday, I was leading a class for leaders in the public sector, people who are public servants, policemen, firefighters, agency directors, city council members, leaders who are on our school boards, leaders in the military who work with our youth, leaders from all different sectors. Well, yesterday when I was leading this class, it was their very last class of a 20-month-long executive leadership program. Now, my class is always about legacy, right? So we know that legacy means that you don't have to wait until the end of your life, right? Or wait until you're about ready to retire or to move on from something to think about our legacy. I mean, you know the drill. Legacy is what I talk about on this show. We create our legacy every single moment, every single day. And this class for these leaders was, again, it was all about legacy. And you know what we did? Well, I invited them to share stories about legacy. I had them share stories about something or someone near and dear to their hearts. Now, they shared deeply and passionately about why they were called to be public servants. Their stories were absolutely riveting. They were powerful stories. Now, these leaders had come together for this last class. And, they've been in this same program with one another for 21 months, right? That's almost 2 years. And they were learning stuff about one another that they had never heard before. They were hearing these incredible stories about one another's lives. Sometimes all we have to do is just hit the pause button, right? We just need to hit the pause button and sit down across the table from someone and pour a cup of tea or pour a cup of coffee or a cool glass of water and just listen to somebody else's story. Sometimes that's how we can make the biggest difference in somebody else's life. Now, I love what Muriel Rukeyser says. She's a poet, and she reminds us that the world is not made up of atoms. The world is not made up of atoms. It's made up of stories, our stories. So that's what Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count is all about. You can learn more about Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count by visiting the Gloria Burgess website. That's GLORIA, B as in boy, URGESS.com. That's the Gloria Burgess website, GLORIA, B as in boy, URGESS.com, or by visiting Facebook at facebook.com/DRGLORIABURGESS PhD /. Okay? That's DR as in doctor, DRGLORIABURGESS PhD /. Today's show honors Dr. Maya Angelou. Now, most of us know Dr. Angelou as an amazing poet and writer. She's both. And she's also an actress, director, filmmaker, humanitarian, and so much more. As many of you know, during the month of February in the United States, we celebrate Black History or Black Heritage Month. Well, you know me. I celebrate the lives of all people, no matter who they are. I like to celebrate the lives of all people, and especially the soulful lives of artists, of African Americans, Black lives, every single day, 365, 24/7. So, who is Maya Angelou? Well, as I just mentioned a few moments ago, she's an incredible poet, writer, actor, director, filmmaker, humanitarian, and an amazing human being. I had the privilege and honor of meeting Dr. Angelou about 10 years ago when she was here in the Seattle area. I met her through a mutual friend, Dr. Maxine Mims, another amazing African-American elder. Now, when I first met Miss Maya in person, I was fascinated by her manner. She wore many hats, as you might imagine, including that of an actor, and I had come to see her perform. My friend took me backstage after Maya's performance. I really loved that she looked me directly in the eye as she spoke. Like so many folks in my own family, she was plain-spoken and straightforward. No beating around the bush with her. Now, in many ways, she reminded me of my mom and the many other elders in my community. Now, throughout my life, I've heard many people say to me that I remind them of Maya Angelou. Now, even though I've heard this often enough, I'm still surprised when someone says it. Why? Because I think I sound a lot like me, not anyone else. Perhaps I do sound a bit like her. After all, I was raised by folks who could just as well have raised her. Being with Maya backstage after her inspiring performance was quite the adventure. And I must admit, it felt a little weird, a little spooky. Not only did Dr. Angelou remind me of the many elders in my own family and my church, in the community that I grew up in, my personal village, right? Being with her backstage was kind of like looking in a mirror, because Dr. Maya also reminded me of myself. The words she used during our conversation, the words she uses in her poems, the cadence of her voice. From meeting Dr. Angelou, I could actually imagine her as one of the many folks in my community. The way she sat, the way she stood, her whole bearing, right? The way she walked, the way she sang, the way she reached for my hand, her seriousness, her laughter, her earnestness. Yes, I could even imagine myself sitting at the same table with her, breaking bread together, laughing and joking about good times while we were digging into some collard greens, black-eyed peas, and cornbread. Yes, I remember. So today we're talking about Dr. Maya Angelou. Our focus is legacy. Today's show is about legacy, honoring this magnificent woman, Dr. Maya Angelou. Now, before I dive into today's show, I want to just pause for a moment just to welcome you, my listeners. If you're just joining us, I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess. This is Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. And I'd like to extend a very special welcome to those of you who are joining my show, or if you're joining Talk Network Radio for the very first time. Let me tell you, you are in for a real treat. I'm excited to have you listening in today, and I'm deeply honored that you have allowed me to be part of your day, so you can be inspired by the ideas and resources to make your life count. Today's topic is legacy, honoring Dr. Maya Angelou. My focus today is to pay tribute to her as we lift up this prolific writer, poet, actor, director, teacher, and humanitarian. Now, you know me, I love to celebrate and lift up people, all people. This is Black Heritage Month, but I celebrate Black people all the time, not just during the month of February, but every single day, 365, 24/7. So again, thank you for joining me today. Now, the best way to introduce Maya Angelou is not by sharing her many, many awards and prizes and tributes and nominations for Emmys and Pulitzers, not by sharing what she taught or where she taught, or even how many films, musicals, and plays she was in or directed, or how many books she wrote, books of poetry, memoirs, and others. Oh, no. The best way to introduce Maya Angelou is through her own words, through her own poetry and prose. This woman was a woman who stood her ground. She would very likely smile, that familiar smile, when I say then and now, Maya was a woman that will not be moved. And thank goodness for that. Her voice, and I mean her actual voice, that low contralto, the tone, the color, the weight